And it's been a year. Can you believe it?
Has it really been a year?
It has been a year. We are live now. Let me check that. I can hear you all right.
Live
volume's
on the
okay.
Miss Murder on YouTube all the way down under. What time is it there right now?
10 a.m. So it's great for Aussies as well.
Oh, this is perfect for everybody.
It's great. Well, I don't know what's been happening for like the last year. It's just been we've done Frazee, and now we're on Stauch. Is it Stauch?
Man, if you're asking me how to say it, they tell me I say it wrong. I think it's Stauch, is what it is, like with it, like cow Stauch. But I say Stauch a lot. Like, well, that's what the family told me. Like they said the middle, like the AU is pronounced like ow.
Right.
So
yeah. Yep.
So
don't mind me, people. I'm smoking. You can thank Ginger Locks in the chat for that. Every time I turn my video off to smoke, she's like, "Turn your video on. I don't want to talk to a dot." So blame her.
Nice. Yeah, so we're right in the middle of this thing. It just kicked off with its first hearing on Wednesday of this week. So we're at Friday. So just a couple of days ago, we were in the first initial hearing with Tisha Stauch for the murder of Gannon Stauch, her stepson.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've put the video up, and I noticed like the first thing I'm doing is like looking for a DWOP. I'm like, where are you? There you are. You're right in the front row. And that was actually my first question, because I'm scripted this time and Grey Hughes ain't going to come in and do shit. But what was it like being so close to her?
Well, first of all, I didn't think the courtroom was going to fill up, because I got there about 2 hours early and there was only about 4 people or 5 people in the hallway, and most of it was media. Well, then like right before the hearing started, kind of the hallway filled up with the most media and the most public. And so when they opened the doors, I was actually standing pretty close to the doors anyway. It wasn't like there was a line or anything, but people kind of moved their way to wherever, and I was standing close enough that I just walked in with the guys and sat down there in the front row. And we thought maybe that family members from Letitia would come sit in front of us, but nobody
were further over to your right.
No, that's Gannon's family. That front row was actually reserved for Letitia Stauch. So I'm actually sitting on the second row.
Right.
I'm on the second row, but none of her family showed up. So there was one row, then the court little bars, and then there was a guard, and then there she was. Now, we watched her come in. Now, I've talked about this a little bit on my show, and I didn't know this until after the court proceedings when I watched the news feedback. The guard who was guarding her is actually like a buddy of mine. Like I've known him for 10 years. And so it was a weird thing afterwards for me. So, but it was cool. Yeah, it was a strange experience, because this is different. This is involving a kid. And so a little bit different.
Very different.
Case. Yeah, different than the Frazee case, and the attention on it's different. The energy around it's different. So
it is very different, and it's far-reaching. I mean, even here, it's been a crazy year with Boswell, Vallows, and this, and already, and we're only into the 3rd month. But that was a question I was going to ask you, because this is different. This is a child, and with Kelsey Bereth, it was very different. It was the same in that there is no body. And with Kelsey Bereth and the Patrick Frazee case, they never pronounced Kelsey officially dead. But I had read, you might be able to clear this up, a couple of weeks or maybe a week ago, they officially pronounced Gannon deceased. And I was wondering how they can do that, 1, without a body, and 2, pre-trial, pre-capital murder.
Well, I think because it was a child, right? Because a child an adult could go missing and want to stay missing on purpose, maybe disappear to a different country, whatever. But with a child, after a few days, you have to believe that this child isn't trying to stay missing. And I'm finding out now that from the very get-go, they were looking at this. I mean, from day one, they were looking at this as a homicide case. They announced it first that they were looking at they weren't looking at it as a criminal case, and it was a missing persons case. But it was really from day one that they were approaching this as a homicide case. And the information that I am getting now is that from day one, Letitia Stauch was suspect number one. So.
And I have to wonder, I can't think of the dates or the coinciding of it, but looking at baby Margot and Heidi in Texas, you've got to wonder if that's got anything to do with it, that was like missing for so long, like a week or whatever. Yep. And then, okay, maybe foul play. And now they seem to be just like getting quicker on the ball that something's up. And I cannot believe the size of the witness list. And I know you explained about casting the net wide, at first and that. But would you say, I think we've all seen a couple of witness lists, and this is large compared to a lot that I've seen.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of witnesses. And even though I said they threw a cast net out there to catch these, it doesn't mean they're not going to use them all. It doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or form that they haven't handpicked each one of those witnesses for a specific reason. So even though there's a lot on the witness list, it is pretty crazy, this whole thing. 107 plus arrest warrants. In the Patrick Frazee case, there was like 25. The witness list in the Patrick Frazee case may have been it was lengthy, but it was a lot of it was law enforcement.
Nothing like this.
No, there was nothing like this. So many.
Yeah, FBI from all over Fayetteville, Colorado, everywhere. Banks, PayPal.
I know.
I think she shopped.
There's people on this witness list all the way down to the lady I had in that cell phone call that she had with Letitia Stauch. So I got
right.
So there's people all the way from just random social media people that Letitia Stauch contacted on social media, all the way up to FBI agents across the country who were following up on leads all the way through this case. So part of me thinks, they put everyone on there because they needed to make sure there was a big number of people. They didn't want to just zero in on a few people. But I do think it's going to come down to some very key players that have either firsthand knowledge or have been told pretty detailed out what happened, and that the evidence somehow matches some of those stories coming in from some of those witnesses. And so they have physical evidence, no doubt. No doubt they are going to have cell phones. They're going to have he says we have a ton of video. So they're going to have video footage. They're going to have cell phones. They're going to have physical evidence. There's blood evidence. They're doing forensic testing. We know this. So yeah.
Can you imagine the discovery package on that one? It would just be crazy. Like we thought the Watts discovery was just like, was crazy. Whether they will put this out because it's a child. Well, there was children in that, I guess, too. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I feel like in these cases, especially here in Colorado, what we're seeing is it really depends on the individual judge. It's the bottom line, because the judge can release or not release whatever he wants. And so in the Watts case, they released all that interview footage. They released all that stuff that happened, the confession. In the Patrick Frazee case, there wasn't a lot of internet or interview footage because he didn't do any interviews. But they did release Crystal Lee Kinney's body cam footage and interview footage.
Yeah, which we saw.
So we got all that stuff. So the chances are in this, I think kind of the rules of engagement are, if it goes before the judge, it becomes public record. And then if they want to keep it from the public, they're going to have
seal
to,
it.
yeah, they have to seal every piece of, and they're going to have to argue those seals. They're going to have to argue every one of them. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
So you mentioned that even the girl who was on the phone conversation that you aired last week was a witness list. That was going to be one of my questions. What was, I think we got a little idea at the end of it where you said the family was contacting you. What was the fallout from airing that phone call?
Like nothing. I mean, listen, I'm talking to the, there's nothing. There's no fallout. I know that the investigators needed information on time and date. That's what I was contacted about. When were you emailed this video? And I answered that question. They already had the lady's name, and I verified that because she emailed me, but then when she called me, I was like, oh yeah, what page? And she told me, I was like, oh crap, there you are. And so there was no fallout with law enforcement on my part. They let me come to the hearing. They didn't give me any hassle. They were very nice. Again, I learned a lot at the Patrick Frazee case, but I was already running uphill because this was my local town. So I already had a little reputation in town. So for people who have, I think, followed you from the beginning, and see, this is where I can understand where you're coming from and things like that, because you and I went through a case quite heavily, both at the same time. Now, Lauren Thompson hasn't been found. She's still missing. I haven't gone through a court trial or anything like that, like the Frazee case. But I can now recognize the difference between a first-time YouTuber going into a case with there's no instruction manual, and this time understanding and thinking back about yourself and going, why did I buy into that? Or, some things like that. And so I can totally understand why people are noticing a difference this time around. I don't think it's not just because of Gannon, and I think it's one thing is speculation, and there was huge speculation for that. There was huge speculation for the Lauren Thompson case. And whilst you're still speculating, I understand it's more considered and measured now, and I'm doing the exact same thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody wants to go out and speculate and be wrong, right? If you speculate and you're right, you're like, oh, they were right all along, or whatever. And so, no, there's still a risk in speculating. And I made speculations this morning. I did it on purpose. And it was calculated. Everything that I was speculating about is calculated, and with what I have in front of me and the evidence and the people I've talked to. And if you haven't heard, if you're listening to this and you watch me on YouTube and you watch me on Facebook, that's good. But sometimes I release stuff on TikTok that I don't release anywhere else. And I just released.
We need to go look at this.
I released 2 video clips on TikTok, and they are video clips that I haven't released anywhere else. And so you might get something new from those clips if you go follow me on TikTok. But anyway, releasing information, speculation, talking about that stuff, it is one of those deals where you're going to get hammered. And I'm getting hammered right now, man. I got a bunch of messages. Oh, you're getting hammered in this group. You're getting hammered in that group. And you know me, I throw my hands up and say my name. I don't care if you love it.
They're like, say my name. We've done it with Ginger. Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed again. There are new people running groups. Like, there are new people that have just stepped into the true crime world because of Gannon. Right? They weren't here before. They weren't watching Dad with the phone during Kelsey Barrett's case, but Gannon's case grabbed them, and now all of a sudden they're watching Dad with the phone, Miss Murder, all
a new wave.
So there's people that are learning how it works now. And again, I'm different than Miss Murder, and I'm different than a lot of these other ones, because this case is local enough for me to go to court. It's local enough for me to go look where they're searching. So
Yeah.
you know, again, it's a little bit different on my channel, because sometimes you'll get to go right down and you'll be right there in it as it's happening. Where a lot of people are showing the same news stuff, sometimes you'll see something different. You know, yesterday I know I got to show a little bit around the courthouse and how this courthouse is different than Patrick Frazie's courthouse, and why we're not going to see Letitia go in and out of a courthouse because of the entrances and stuff. And so, you know, it's a little different way to follow a case through.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the way now that we follow, you know, different cases of interest, or we want to know what's happened, or we want to find justice. And so now you're able to do that. And I think, you know, I think the speculation was fine. I just wanted to briefly point on that what I've learned, whatever you're speculating on, if you can't infer too many results from it, then you know, it's fine to do it, like with all the banks and things like that. There's only a few inferences you could make with Letitia and, you know, her banks and that, like what she's doing with her money, and, you know, possibly like what else do you use a bank for? You know, I mean, it's definitely possible to put out there that did she get a life insurance policy on Gannon, or, you know. So
yeah, no,
I think,
like some of the stuff we look at on that witness list, I think it's not misleading, but one thing for sure is if you begin to run the people that you don't see where they're from and the addresses and stuff, you start wondering, oh, okay, well, that person worked. And that's what we did. We went through them. It's like, man, 4 or 5 people work for this particular bank. This bank does this. And this bank is real big in the insurance business. And so that was how we got to the life insurance policy. And like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you guys will definitely let me know along the way. But again, it's not to speculate. It is, but fortunately, we look at it and we go, something's up, right? This woman did a lot of interviews that didn't line up.
We don't know the answers, and we want the answers.
Yeah, everybody wants to know, and everybody wants to know today, because we're like, we might all be dead from coronavirus tomorrow, and then we live without the answer of what happened with, you know, Gannon. And so, it's a little bit of a joke, but in the sense of we want to know. And you know, I try to give people enough information, and I try to give people a different way to look at that information. All of that information that I actually talked about today, with the exception of a few things maybe, is out there in the public. You can go look at it on the witness list. You can watch her interviews. You can listen to her phone calls. You can see her screenshots. And then if you listen to law enforcement, and you really break down what law enforcement said strategically at these press conferences, then you can start to, and you've already dealt with these people. These are players, you know. This is the same district that tried Patrick, right? Even in the hallway, they were like, let's take it back to Cripple Creek, guys. Like, they were referring to us as, hey, we know some of you are from Patrick Frazie's case. So,
right. Well, I had that question too. Is like, how is law enforcement? Well, it's probably, you know, both too. How is law enforcement and the media treating you now compared to Cripple Creek?
Yeah, let me tell you this. One, the media, everybody's right there. They'll give me an elbow. They'll give me the elbow, right? No, I'm in pretty good contact with most of the media here in the local area. What do they think about me? I still don't know. I'm still in contact with Sam. Me and Sam were texting during the trial. Me and Sam tweet back and forth at each other pretty regularly. And so the media kind of, I think they learned their lesson. Like, okay, he's not media, but he's damn good at what he does, even to the point that, like, I'm pretty sure I broke the arrest of Letitia Stock. I can't say that I'm the only one, but I'm pretty sure I was saying she was arrested first. And the media doesn't like that. The media doesn't like when they get beat by an amateur investigator or an internet sleuther, but they have realized this is the world we live in, and there's nothing they're going to do about it. So no, the media has been cool. Law enforcement, same thing. I don't have a reputation down yet in El Paso County and the sheriff's department, the cops. Maybe as long as Frazie's brother don't show up, we'll be fine. But and now that I know my buddy's a guard and there's a chance he's going to be in the courtroom, I'm on my best behavior. You guys watched me. I'm on camera the whole time. I was on my best behavior.
Yeah.
I was on.
You were damn close to her. I
tweeted out I could be the closest person to her besides the guards and her attorneys. And it was one of those things where you were like, dude, she did not look good. She looked rough. She looked rough. I'm gonna say that. So
she didn't seem to say anything apart from,
No, she was she was real whispering with her attorney, and it was probably her attorney doing most of the talking, explaining what was going on, keeping her calm, blocking the camera. You guys saw a lot of that. They were blocking. She was dodging. That was because she was coached. That wasn't like, oh, hey, dodge the camera. No, she was coached. Everything was strategic. They told them where to put the camera. They placed the people where they were going to be. And so it was a strategic move for them to do what they did. And it worked. It worked out, for the most part. But we still saw her, her demeanor. This case she's done. She's done. She's buried herself in the media already. She's buried herself on social media. She's asked for forgiveness from the internet, and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna forgive you anytime soon. So
yeah. When you mention the word coaching, it brings me back to the witness list, and this is for both sides as well, for the defense as well as the prosecution, is that list is going to be whittled down because, in a sense, part of their job is to coach the witness.
Oh, absolutely.
You need to be able to run through with that witness and make sure that they're not going to be a train wreck before they get on the stand. So we're going to see that list come down a lot, I think.
And a lot of those witnesses are foundation witnesses. And so like the loss prevention guy from one of the places, he's a foundation witness because yes, I can swear to time and date that security camera's been calibrated. That's the proper date on it. Oh, maybe it's 3 minutes fast. Maybe it's a minute fast. He will give foundation to video evidence. The 7-Eleven employee, if there's video evidence from the 7-Eleven,
the Avis rental car.
These are all going to be foundation witnesses that could just sign a witness affidavit for that piece of evidence. They may not ever even be called into court. The other thing is law enforcement is going to play a huge role because they're going to have cell phone experts talk about how they tracked her cell phones and stuff like that, how they backtracked her cell phones, what happened, how we recovered deleted information off her cell phones, how this video was posted at this time, but the actual encrypted date on it is this. She talks about taking a selfie in the car with Gannon when they returned, but yet she deleted that video, and she thinks that they were just going to look at the timestamp of when she posted it. She talks, there's different things they talk about with, social media, I did this. Listen, this isn't a game. This isn't their first rodeo. That's the difference.
Oh, boy, no.
Yeah, like Tisha, whether or not you think you've done a great job at covering up whatever happened, these guys have been doing it. And again, this is a case where as soon as it was a child, the FBI and CBI have their special investigation unit that just deals with children cases. Like, so think about Heroes. These are the cops that only deal with missing children and endangered children. So they are the best at what they do when it comes to kids. So they were on her from the second Gannon was reported missing on the Lorson community page on Facebook, Lorson Ranch community page. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I wasn't just waving at the wall. Then I was waving at someone. All right.
What else you got, Miss Murder?
What else have I got? Oh my gosh. I'm trying CBD oil. That's fun.
Uh-oh. Got the CBD stuff flowing, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
No.
Anyway, I meant to put this up just briefly before for anyone. I've now gone and parked our old video up from a year ago. I've posted it up on the front page for new subscribers.
Oh, I gotcha.
Thank you for your new wave of subscribers too. That's lovely.
Nice.
I just wanted to go down memory lane just momentarily.
All right, let's look at it.
And yeah, just briefly. Hang on.
Oh God. Oh goodness. I can barely hear it.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You don't have to share audio on a share tab, do you?
I always have to drop it into a browser. I just drop that actual video into a browser and it plays from a browser.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys can go and watch. Hang on. Let me just. Hey.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that, Miss Murder. I don't want to be watching.
Why don't you want?
I don't want to be watching myself from a year ago. No.
Why?
No.
We're going back and reminiscing.
See,
and give me a reason to have a cigarette.
You got to go watch that video. You got to go subscribe and watch that video from a year ago on Miss Murder's channel. So
about the Patrick Frazee case, but if you want to skip all that, go to the 57-minute mark. It gets interesting.
Oh my goodness!
I loved it. I loved it. So you were just like the best co-host that day, where I was just like, I was just storming off, and I left you with the channel.
I don't need to see any of that.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! See, the laugh so hard, my cigarette's gone out now.
What else you got?
Oh crap! I had a question.
You didn't burn up in the fires. Did all the fires quit in Australia?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, because after that we got floods.
Okay.
So
there you go.
It was just we had like 2 weeks of rain, which cleared up a lot of the fires and that. We had some behind us, but we didn't have to evacuate or anything like that. So
what's your question, Jen Winter, about one of the witnesses that stuck out to you? Somebody in chat says, I have a question about one of the witnesses that stuck out to me. Which one is it? I wonder. Jen
Witter, I'm from Brisbane. just going quickly. Yeah, I'm going through quickly through the comments because that was the comments I was trying to find. But it was, did you mean in the Patrick Fraser case or did you mean in this case for Gannon?
Probably Gannon's case because they released the witness list. So I don't think they're talking witness list from Patrick's case. Some people from Castle Rock in here. So people local. Oh, the Nintendo witness. Okay, so the Nintendo witness. Here it is. I know this.
I don't know about this. Yep.
Yeah, so I have to pay the freaking Nintendo people because my son has an Xbox. So he has like an Xbox account. So they what they're doing is they are they're getting access to like their Microsoft Nintendo account. And so that's what that witness is. There's somebody
that's
there.
What that's for.
Yeah,
okay.
It's to get the records from there because sometimes those gaming things record things. They can record if he was playing a game at a certain time, what was going on. So sometimes those gaming machines record stuff. So yeah, that Nintendo witness is so that they can, they have to subpoena someone to subpoena records. So what you're seeing is those are witnesses, but there might be 5 or 6 warrants behind that, right? So it's a warrant to subpoena that person, and then we need to subpoena the financial records for this account, and then we need to subpoena the financial records for this account on this date between this date. So they're going to write like 107 warrants. There might be 5 or 6 warrants per witness just to get the information they need. And so, no, that's a great question, but that's who that Nintendo witness is because just like my son has an Xbox account and I got to pay for that freaking crap every month. It's the same thing. So they're getting that information from that. Any accounts like that, that's the same thing with PayPal. If they were going to get their Google subscriber accounts or their Google Gmails, stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So even the prosecution says, after they said like 107 warrants, I think there's even more than that.
Yeah, there's actually more. There's some in South Carolina. Yep. And then the DA did say 107 was his estimate. He anticipates there'll be a bit more. So, for sure.
So with that much evidence, do you see this trial running more than, say, a week?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Patrick Fraser's trial was like this because the defense did nothing, barely anything. And it went in 2 weeks. They anticipated 3 weeks or something, but they got done a week early. So I anticipate this to be at least a 2-week trial, if not 2 to 3 weeks, could be longer.
Okay. All right. Peggy Sue asked an interesting question. Does the Switch have GPS? I don't know. Nintendo Switch. Does it have? I think Nintendo Switch. I think I bought my son one, but he's growing.
Is it like a portable? Is it a portable thing?
I think it's like a portable. So I'm just wondering. That would be interesting if they do have GPS.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. I do know that the cars and the vehicles she was in, even Al's truck has GPS.
Yeah.
So all the vehicles she was in have some sort of GPS tracker.
Her phone, they'll definitely be able to tie it down. But
she also had an Apple Watch on, and so Apple Watch have GPS and location too.
With all of that, and still not knowing where he is, I just would have. I would have thought that information might give them at least a close location to.
Somebody hasn't mentioned yet, but there are 4 waste management witnesses on the witness list.
I noticed that too.
Two of them have titles, and I think 2 of them don't have the waste management title. Maybe they do, but there's at least 4 waste management witnesses. So that doesn't, and that could be because of the tampering. Remember, she's charged with more than just murder. She's charged with tampering with evidence and tampering with a deceased body, I
See, they
think.
have to have evidence for that for the burden of proof. So
Yeah, so they're but if they can tell the story like they did in the Kelsey Barrett case, see that you can change the narrative to we don't have a body to no, the body's there in that bag, or the body's there in that bag in the back of the truck, or the body's there in that bag. And so if they have video evidence of her at like gas stations or at the bank, I mean, all of these things could be similar to the Frazee case, where if she went to the bank and got money out at a certain time and she had Gannon with her, maybe Gannon was seen at a certain time, maybe he wasn't seen at a certain time. And so all of this, when it comes to having a body, what I saw in Frazee's case was you don't have to have the body if you have a story that explains the body. Here's the body in the tote. Here's the body in the tote here. Here's the body in the tote here. This is where we have a witness that says this is where the tote was placed and burned. And so if you can change the story from body to bag or body to some kind of trash can or something. And so depending on the story they have that's matching up with the physical evidence, we're not going to know that until probably pre-trial. Well, just like we found out officially when they released the affidavit from Greg Slater after pre-trial in the Patrick Frazee case, the same thing will happen. Once it goes before the judge, it will become public record. And then if we hear that, if we've seen it, we heard it firsthand, people tweeted it out, and somebody, the police officer says, I talked to so-and-so and this is what they said, so.
So is the next hearing, is that a probable cause hearing?
No, the next hearing is actually just a wash. It's called a status hearing. It's like a made-up hearing. They wanted to go to like the arraignment, which would be, UK, now you have the arrest warrants, you have the arrest affidavit. Now we come to the arraignment. You tell us if you're going to plead guilty, not guilty. But the defense attorney said, I just got all this stuff. I'm going to need to look through this. So they said, we're going to ask for a status hearing, which is hey, it's a hold on hearing is what it is just trying to slow down the process a little bit. And actually it works for our advantage because now that we're in the middle of this crisis, who knows? They're canceling court right now. So, it could affect out this date. So we'll see.
Definitely. Okay, so this was a question that went by a couple of times. People were alerting me to it. Thanks, guys. So Jen Witter said, hey, DWOP, I'm the one who sat by you in the courtroom as well, by the way. Peace. I saw that there were 2 security guards from Memorial Hospital. I found that odd.
Yep. Are you talking about
question mark
in the black uniforms? I'm wondering.
In the black, she didn't elaborate. Well, let's have a look.
Because there were 2 officers that were brought up, because I think they brought them with, in case there was something that went down. Like they had an ambulance unit there as well. She was under heavy guard. I don't think she's at the hospital though. So I remember the 2, if she's talking about the 2 guards that came up in the hallway, I think those were just patrol officers that were called in to help with crowd control. But I don't know about 2 other officers. But if they were there with emergency services, I know that they have an ambulance on site there. So they may have just brought them in for extra security. There wasn't much going on at the end of the day in the courthouse. That was obviously the biggest case of the day. They had probably 5 or 6 officers in the courtroom. So
a couple of them are saying they were on the witness list. No, Jen said no on the witness list.
The witness list. I thought she was talking about at the hearing.
Sorry, it wasn't clear.
No. So that's gonna be that's gonna be interesting. No, I don't know. Because I don't know what has happened to her since she's been in custody. There's been a lot of rumors, but there's been no formal charges brought around assaults. But yeah, they've got a lot of witnesses on that witness list. They've got principals, they've got school teachers,
The
they've got,
schools.
yeah, there's so many. And we're going through it. You know, you got to be careful with those witness lists because you don't want to overstep any bounds. Like, I'm not calling witnesses and I'm not trying to contact witnesses. I've had a couple of witnesses contact me and talk to me, but the yeah, the witnesses are there's some good ones on there. I mean, the fact that Gannon's little sister's on there is crazy. You know, that's an 8-year-old
How old
girl.
is she? 8 years old.
She's 8 years old and she's on that witness list.
And
And
Harley's how old? She's
she's gonna be 18 like May 1st, I think. So
okay. But
somewhere
none
right
of
there.
none of them were there. None of Letitia's family.
None of Letitia's family was there. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of people talking about Letitia's family and where they are and who they are. You know, but from everything that the people I've talked to and the people I've been in contact with, and this one's different too, because in Kelsey Barrett's case, I didn't talk to the family. The family didn't talk to people. In this case, you know, Landon has done a couple of interviews, and she reached out to me. She reached out to me early in this case when I first started talking about it. And then I've talked to a couple of people in Al's family and a couple of people, or at least one person in Letitia's family. And I didn't contact them. They contacted me, and just, you know, whether we're talking about the channel or why I do something, or, you know, they're giving me information, or they're, you know, just asking me information. A lot of it has been them asking me information, you know. And so you know, it's different when you're talking with the family because you want to be respectful. But then on the flip side of this, I'm not trying to interject myself into the family, because I also know that I talk about the speculation side, or I'll have people on who will talk about speculation. So walking that fine line and that balance of family time and talking about true crime is a real freaking,
It's hard to learn, especially in a public forum, when you learn those lessons publicly, like you and I both did. You know, and I had already apologized for my part in, you know, anything that turned into a circus or whatever, as a responsibility, you know, as being a YouTuber. But other people still haven't, and they won't, and that kind of sucks. But, you know, you got to just do what you got to do. I mean,
yeah, the internet's never going to apologize for nothing. And as far as I go, I'm going to probably have to apologize after every case for something. You know, I was making some freaking stupid confessions a few days ago that I'm still like, why the hell did I even talk about that stuff? And so, yeah, I mean, true crime, there is a balance between an entertainment, right? People watch that with the phone because it's entertaining. People watch me because they learn something. People watch me because they get informed. It's a combination of all three of those things.
And we get passionate about it, I think.
Oh, absolutely. You know? I run into people I know and they're like, hey, man, I was watching you online. And I'm like, hey, don't watch me online. Like, I tell my friends and all the locals, hey, yeah, don't turn on the internet. That's a terrible place to get your information. And so when people that follow Dad with a Phone, or people that watch Miss Murder or watch YouTubers, there's a number of reasons. A lot of them join just simply because the community of people they're chatting with and talking with in chat, they could care less about what's being said. So yeah, there's a whole different realm. And I'm going to tell you this. With the virus, this is only going to get bigger because people are going to be at home more for the next 14 days. The school kids are at home. I got to turn my TikTok game up. I got to turn my YouTube and my Facebook game. So you guys are going to be getting all kinds of.
Yeah, I've got to, I don't know, work out my CBD oil and work out what's happening with my head and go live. And as I would say to Ginger Lock's mum, I'm here all week. Try the Kentucky veal. So
yeah, as long as they don't shut down my internet, I'm gonna be good to go. I finish up with you in 15 minutes and I go straight on to another group on Facebook and do another hour. So
Yes. Now, what is the name of this group?
it's True Crime Uncensored on and discussion on Facebook. It's a group. It's a private group. There's like
If I
18,000,
ever member of that one.
18,000, 20,000 members, something like that. And it's a true crime group, and we're gonna talk the Gannon Stauch case and get another little interview, maybe answer different questions, talk about different stuff. So no, for me,
Yes, it's good.
this coronavirus just gave me some time. So
yeah, it has, and so a lot of the schools being shut for like a month in New Jersey. Where else do I know kids? I just can't even think. Like it's
school nationwide is closed down. Colorado, Tennessee,
everyone now.
Texas. Oh yeah, everybody's getting an extra week for spring break. We were about to go into spring break. They called spring break a week early, but the problem is they're for me on my end, they're canceling big conventions, which is my prostitution work, and so when they're canceling any kind of travel and stuff, and so.
Oh no, it's the same. It's the same here. He's in the entertainment industry as well. He does trusts and anything at the shows and stuff like that. So a lot of the concerts and stuff, big concerts, have been cancelled. So it's really affecting the entertainment industry. All of that kind of stuff. Did anyone have any questions? Thanks, D. Carol. Did anyone have any questions before we go? Because we want to let you have a moment to warm up before you jump over to.
Because I need to warm up.
Fibber.
Because I need to warm up.
You just hit the ground running.
I just hit the ground running. Yeah, this is natural now, so it's fun. It's becoming more. It's easier every time. So you're doing awesome. Channel's up, 1,000+ subscribers. Yeah.
No, I'm just a small channel because I don't do the drama and that. I figure doing true crime, there's enough drama in each story as it is, without adding a whole bunch of shit. So
yeah, I'm trying to hit I'm trying to hit my 10,000 milestone.
That's coming up real quick.
Yeah, I'm about 5,000 off or something, but it's working out. So we'll get there. But
yeah, for sure.
No, it's a good time.
While I've got it here at the bottom here, I've now taken this from your last live. So this is the on screen. So this should be the only place people would go to donate for Gannon.
Yep, absolutely. So when you go to that page, you're going to come to a welcome page. It's going to have a dollar amount. But what you want to go to is the little drop box that says right now, it'll say tithe. You want to click on it, and it's going to say support Gannon Stauch or Gannon Stauch support. You want to click on that. You can give a one-time gift. All of that money is going to Al and Landon's the family. That's where they had a special service there. If you haven't seen that special service, or if you haven't seen the tribute video they put out a great tribute video for Gannon from his dad. I think Miss Murder linked it up too, and so you can check that video out on Miss Murder.
It's a beautiful one from this church as well.
Yeah. So that church is the one that Al would have attended and been a part of. That's their address if you want to mail in gifts to them.
Cards or anything to what is it, 9425 Peaceful Valley Road? Isn't that nice? Colorado Springs, Colorado 80925.
Yeah, so that's a good place if it just makes you feel good. Sometimes we need it. Like you need to sit down and write out something to make you feel good because you're thinking of Landon or Al. And so write out a letter to them. And I know that those letters that they will read and keep forever probably. So. Oh, there's the group right there.
There we are. Thank you, Gingerlocks. So this is where you'll be hopping over to in 10 minutes, I guess. So
that's where I'm headed. Hey, thank you, Miss Murder, for having me over here.
Thank you for coming back. It's been a minute.
I know.
More than once a year would be good.
I'll come over again. Hey, maybe we'll just do this. Like, let's do it after every court appearance. We can have like
I think, yeah,
little breakdown after a couple of days after, whatever, just right after the next court appearance. So that's
over
April.
different trials, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So, all right, guys.
So,
well, y'all have fun and.
yeah, I was just going to say, guys, you can check every month now. We do What's Up docket. So all of the trials for the coming up for the next month are in there. Okay. Thanks for coming in.